So we've taken our next step in this infinite journey of enlightenment. A series of events have taken place that has brought us to where we are right now. This is the most important time of our lives. It's in this very moment which exists prior to a thought that we have the potential to be. Being exists in this moment, in this time, and knowing, seeing, feeling, and experiencing all that there is right now. Stay tuned as Ron Ash teaches how to locate our special gift, connect with spirit, and intentionally create our experiences.
Do you have a special gift that you'd like to share with the world? Then consider broadcasting your message on BTRN. The Being Talk Radio Network is local, national, and international broadcasting with powerful programs that enlighten minds and change lives. BTRN hosts are passionate about purpose, motivating listeners to confidently move forward in the direction of their dreams. To host a show on BTRN, call 401-640-GIFT. Become a part of the Being Talk Radio Network today and contribute to positive change tomorrow. We are BTRN, the Being Talk Radio Network.
The best way to predict the future is to create it. The Intuitive Life Coach takes a metaphysical approach to life coaching, identifying root issues, accessing key problems, and formulating a highly effective approach and resolution. Through proven coaching techniques, the Intuitive Life Coach will help you to move confidently in the direction of your dreams. Author, counselor, teacher Ron Ash is the Intuitive Life Coach. Call 424-777-LAWS or connect online at theintuitivelifecoach.me.
Westside Yoga is the premier yoga center, committed to the integration of body, mind, and inner spirit. Whether you choose to participate in a single class for $10 or sign up for 2 weeks of unlimited classes for $35, Westside Yoga will help increase flexibility, alleviate stress, and improve memory and balance. Westside Yoga, 511 Broadway, Providence, Rhode Island. Visit westsideyogari.com or call 401-228-POSE. Westside Yoga, Yogana. Feel great.
Art Gutkin is a medical intuitive specializing in Akashic record meditation, energy healing, and other forms of relief. Through Art Gutkin's integrated regression healing technique, current illnesses that stem from childhood events and emotions are identified, permitting Art to assist in the resolution of the past and healing of the present. Open your eyes to a new outlook on life through Art Gutkin's gift, 888-506-5975 or medintuitive.com.
Experience the power of being. Join author and intuitive life counselor Ron Ash on an infinite journey of enlightenment. Being explores the various modalities associated with self-help and spirituality. Master divine guidance, connect to source energy, and expand your consciousness. For a complete list of our affiliate stations and showtimes, visit beingwithronash.com.
Hello and welcome to Being with Ron Ash. I'm Ron Ash, your host, and we are the Being Talk Radio Network, live and local, national and international, on great stations worldwide. For a complete list of our affiliates and showtimes, visit us online at beingwithronash.com. That's beingwithronash.com. Today you are Being with Ron Ash. Sean Bianca and Elizabeth Hanley will be joining us, author of No Problem, How to Focus on Solutions. I think solutions are really so important, and so many people seem to get caught up in the problem and neglect finding the root of that problem and then setting forth a plan and moving towards a solution. Don't you think, Sean Bianca?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, as a woman, we talk to our girlfriends, ad nauseum, and over lunch or dinner about problems that we have in our life, and we never come up with a solution. Men, I think, are more attackers of a problem, but I think women like to talk about it, and we have more difficulty in finding a solution. So I'd love to hear her take on it.
I had a business for 17 years, a chain of retail stores, and one of the things, and going into it, when I found a problem, it wasn't something I was happy about, but I would get so excited about formulating a solution, really getting down to the root of the issue, begin that problem solving process, and then it was such a euphoric feeling once I finally got myself out of it and into smooth sailing once again.
Right, exactly. No, absolutely. I mean, if you can find the solution easily, it's great. But sometimes problems aren't that easily solved. I wish they all could be, but yes, I mean, you feel like you've just come up with a cure for cancer when you solve a problem going on either in your life or in business, and but no, it is euphoric when you do. I mean, I used to be a teaching tennis professional, and sometimes people understand things differently, and so a lot of times I would have to think of maybe 5 or 6 different ways of fixing their problem with their certain stroke. And I have to say, when I finally said it the right way so that they got it, it was like, oh, yes, I did it. And so, yes, I mean, it is. It's a great, great feeling.
So really communicating to the other person what the problem is really the hurdle many times. And, in business, it's more or less a black and white type of thing. The numbers are off. There are some internal things we talked about on the last show about the relationships in the workplace and how those all have an effect on everyone who is involved. But with people, sometimes it's very difficult, and many times it's the people that are closest to us because they're going through something, and if we don't really know exactly what that is, and they're not communicating to us, we're kind of left with our no course of action. We don't know what to do. We are aware there's a problem there, but where do we go from there? I mean, if there's not an open line of communication, honesty and being forthright about what's happening in their lives, there's really not much that we can do.
I agree. I think problems with business are more easily solved because it is black and white. But when you're dealing with other people, exactly, you're not a mind reader, and so it has to do with communication. And if they're not communicating, then it's difficult to figure out what the problem is that you're having with that person, be it a mother, father, or a romantic interest. And so it's not quite so easily taken care of.
Yeah, all of the above. And with ourselves, that's a big issue for many of us. Myself included. Sometimes there could be something going on in me, and I'm not aware of it. And this is transpiring into all these different things in my life that are not making me happy, making me feel good.
Right.
Causing
Absolutely.
me to be on the path that I want to be on. Well, let's bring in Elizabeth Hanley. Hello, Elizabeth, from Australia.
Hello, everyone. Yes, hello. I live in Sydney, Australia. Hello, everyone.
Yeah.
Hello.
Very interesting. Hello, how are you, Bianca? How are you?
Fine, thanks. Great to have you.
Yeah.
Great to communicate with you.
No problem.
Where
How
are
to
you?
focus on solutions. She is in Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, and I am in New England, Rhode Island, the biggest little state in the Union.
Oh, Palm Beach, lucky.
Actually, I'm thinking I've always wanted to go to Australia. That's on my bucket list.
Yeah, mine also.
I don't think they have any problems in Palm Beach, do they?
You know what? In Palm Beach, it's funny. I ran into a friend yesterday, and she said it's almost like a dream world, and it's true.
It sounds like it.
It is. It's almost like a dream world. Everyone has their perfect little houses and their perfect little families, but if you really dig deep, it's not so perfect. In fact, when I moved here, I was quite surprised that it was anything but. So it's not all it's perceived to be. But Australia, you're where it's at.
Yeah, I'm very interested in getting out there as well. So
yes,
I think
definitely.
it's Palm Beach and many other places, people are just unaware that there are problems sometimes, or the people around those people look and say, wow, this person has a perfect life, but really they don't know. It's a facade. We all have problems. We all need to learn how to deal with them. How did you first come to write this book, No Problem, How to Focus on Solutions? What was the driving force behind it?
Well, actually, I'm a research librarian,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't actually set out to write a book. I set out to give myself a happier life because I was struggling through a lot of problems and I was unhappy and stressed. And you know that old saying where misfortunes come in three?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, the first one
I
was
often wonder if we manifest that because we expect it.
Well,
Good
maybe.
point.
I managed to manifest all three.
Okay.
The place where I was working, we were told 1 in 3 of us would lose our jobs because of the economic downturn. The place I was renting was up for sale, so I had to move out. And my boyfriend stopped ringing me. So I wasn't very happy. Can you beat that?
Oh, my gosh. You really did have absolutely everything go wrong at once. Oh, poor you.
Oh, it did. Actually, I was so fed up at work one day because everybody was distressed because we didn't know who was going to lose their jobs. We knew that 1 in 3 of us was going to go. And I went home early, and I actually turned the TV on, and I'm not normally home around lunchtime. And guess who was on? Dr. Phil.
Oh.
Dr. Phil was actually the catalyst for this book. He actually asked a question. He was near the end of his show. I'd never heard of Dr. Phil before because I was at work when his show's on. And he asked a very interesting question that I've never forgotten. And he said, if you were a business manager, if you had a business, and your manager was running it into the ground, would you keep hiring them or would you fire them? Well, naturally, you'd fire them. And then he went on to say, well, you're the manager of your life. Are you getting the results you want, like happiness, success, and health? Would you keep hiring yourself or would you fire yourself? And I'm like, oh, I am so fired. I am so fired. And have you ever asked yourself that question, either of you?
That's a great analogy, and
it is. I thought it was. Yeah.
I actually haven't, but thinking about it,
yes.
Well,
you are your own life manager.
The important thing about it is that taking the blame for what we have at this present time. Not blaming other people for where we're at. Exactly.
And I was sort of blaming the economy for the job losses and blaming my boyfriend for me being upset. And I decided, well, look, I'm going to manage my life a bit better. And I ended up, of all places, at the local library in front of the self-help section.
Mm-hmm.
There were a lot of books there. And I just wanted one on problem solving. You just want a book, you want to read it, you want to get on, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, there wasn't one on problem solving. And I'm thinking, great, I'm going to have to do this the hard way. So what I ended up doing is I ended up reading as many self-help books as I could get, and I looked for information on problem solving from each book. For example, Tony Robbins, you've heard of him. He was a big author in the U.S.
Absolutely.
Anthony Robbins? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when I started reading his book, it's 500 pages. When I got to the middle, I'd forgotten what I read at the beginning. So I had to go back, and I started taking notes. So about 200 books later, I had this folder full of notes. And I thought, well, this is a lot of stuff to remember. So what I did is I put them under 4 simple tips, what I have classified as 4 simple tips. So you remember the tip, you can remember all their valuable advice. So that's actually how the book came about.
Interesting. That makes sense. Mm-hmm. I mean, you should be an expert 200 books later, reading on problem solving. Obviously, you should be an expert by now. So, yes, I would definitely read your book.
Well, it took me 3 years of reading and taking notes. It was worth it because I'm a totally different person because I was blaming and expecting life to make me happy and wondering why things went wrong. I don't do that anymore. I know exactly why things go wrong. So, yeah, that's actually how it came about. I wasn't intentionally looking to write a book. So It was a great experience.
Yeah, we have to watch out. Very slippery slope. We could fall into that victim stance, and everybody's after us, and it's everybody's fault, and poor me, and then we start to get addicted to those feelings and emotions, and we need more of them. And I think, Sean, last time you were on with me, you were talking about a friend of yours that actually was going through that same thing. Sean actually has a blog called "I'd Rather Be Single for Now."
Huh?
Yeah.
I like that.
Yes,
I like that.
Right.
So she talks about a lot of her experiences, dating, and the different relationships that she's been involved with. So interesting stuff. I'd rather be single for now. We do have a caller that has a question, Elizabeth. Let's go to area code 909. What's your name and where you calling from?
Oh, hello. Yes, my name is Carol, and thank you for taking my call. This is fascinating. I'm going through where there's a lot of changes coming into my life, and I'm having to pack up my house, and I'm kind of stuck. It's kind of like I feel a bit overwhelmed. Mm-hmm. How can I best overcome this, or just take one little step at a time?
Well, I sort of went through the same thing when I had my trio of joy, which I laugh at now, but at the time it really wasn't very good.
Right.
And really the thing is when problems occur, when you run into them, you're going to be upset. It's a natural reaction. We all have it. And the thing is when you're upset, your ability to see solutions diminishes. So it's important to move from what I call negative thinking to helpful thinking. Okay. Because problems will not make you think, oh, well, I'm going to be fine, it'll be great. Mainly it's because you don't have the information to feel that you can deal with this, it'll be okay, you can handle it. And that's what I found. I didn't have the information I needed that I thought, oh, look, I've got the information, I know how to handle this problem, it'll be fine. And I think when you have the information, when you know what to do, problems don't affect you as much negatively because you think, okay, this has gone wrong, but that's okay, things have gone wrong before, I know what to do. And I think that helps when you feel like you've got the information you need, and that's what I sort of accumulated when I wrote the book. One review called it it's like the Reader's Digest of self-help. So I just wanted to get as much information I can about problem solving, there's a lot of other stuff in those self-help books, but the problem solving was what I was having problems with. So if you can sort of find the right information for what you need, problems just don't seem as overwhelming. Mm-hmm. It's like, just say your car breaks down. Here in Australia, we have a service. If your car breaks down, you're not going to be all, oh, what's going to happen to me? You just call here it's the NRMA, and they come and fix it. So you don't feel as distressed because you know what to do. But it's when you don't know what to do, you feel distressed and upset and negative, and that's what causes it. And so it's important to sort of figure out what information do I need to find this problem. And if you believe that you're going to solve it, and this may sound silly, but there were some problems where I had no idea how I was going to solve it. I really didn't, but I knew that I would find the information and solve it, and I did. Okay. And that's another important thing, to believe in yourself that you will get through, you will find what you need. It sort of comes to you, and this sounds a little bit wishy-washy, and I know Ron's written about this in his Being book. It's sort of the universe will bring to you what you want.
You're right.
And if you want to solve the problem, if your focus is on, I know I can solve this, I will look for information I need, I will get help, I will talk to people, the universe brings you the resources, which is what happened to me when I formed this book. It wasn't even meant to be a book. The universe just brought me these authors and this information. So this is sort of, see what I mean by that?
I do. I absolutely do. I think sometimes instead of me just getting stuck and being overwhelmed, I need to, as you said, I need to say I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I know I'm going to do it, and then just start doing it because nobody else is going to swoop in. I mean, there will be people to help. Don't get me wrong, but I need to start doing it, and once I do, then I'll get momentum and go on. I absolutely agree with that. You have to change your perception and say, I can do this. I don't know how, but right now I'm going to focus on this corner, and everything else is not important now. Or this closet.
Yeah, I love the phrase where I found out that even if the only thing you can do for a problem is change your thinking, then work on that. So even with any problem, if all you can do is change your thinking, you work on it. You are working towards a solution.
Right, absolutely, because if you change your perception, then you allow the solution to come through, as you said. Wow, that's great.
Exactly.
You're very informative.
Exactly right. Exactly.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you so
That's all right.
much.
Lovely
Thanks
talking.
for
Have
the
a
call.
wonderful.
You too. See, that's the problem too. When we blame other people for the or circumstances for our current situation, we never really get down to the true problem. It's very easy. The ego begs for us to make life situations a little more palatable by pushing the blame onto other people. But as we do that, we never get down to truth. And if we don't get to truth, we'll never get to the solve the problem. If you don't realize you're sick, you'll never seek out a cure.
Well,
Good
actually,
point.
that was one of the. Sorry.
I said that's a good point. Very good point.
Yeah. I was just going to say that. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. You hadn't finished yet. Sorry.
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
Yep. No, I was just going to say that one of the tips is called the own tip, and it really shocked me because I actually thought I was taking responsibility for my life and my problems. But when I realized and I read about what authors said about taking responsibility, I was absolutely shocked because now when I have a problem, first thing I ask myself is, how did I create this problem? What decisions did I make? What choices in the past brought me to this problem? I don't even bother blaming anyone else. Even if someone else causes the problem, that's not where my focus is. I can figure out how did I get here by what I did. And I always figure out from that how I got out. And that's the own tip in the book. And that tip really shocked me, but it stuck very quickly to me when I realized what it was about. I stopped blaming. I have stopped blaming so easily. It doesn't even bother me if someone else causes the problem. I know I can solve it.
Now, there's 4 tools that you talk about in the book. What are the 4 tools?
Yep. There's the defined tip. I sort of call them tips more than tools because they're not actually physical tools. The defined tip is really important because it says it asks you to see it as it is, not worse than it is. And often, when you have a problem and you're negative, you sort of blow things out of proportion because of the negativity. So that's an important one. And then the own tip, which I just told you about, is where by actually owning the problem, you actually have the power to solve it. It's just like ownership of anything gives you power. Like, you own 10 cars or 10 houses. You have more power than someone that owns nothing. And it's the same with problems. And you may think owning a problem, you don't want to own a problem. But ironically, when you own it, when you say, hey, how did I get myself here, you can see how to get yourself out. And the next one is the truth tip. Now, that tip is it's a little bit more challenging because it actually asks you, what role do you play in this problem? And people, especially if someone else causes it, they don't want to think they're part of it. They just want it to disappear. But if it's affecting you, then you're part of the problem. And that's great because if you're part of the problem, you can obviously be part of the solution. So the truth tip shows you how you are part of the problem. And my favorite actually is the balance tip. And I love this tip because it reminds me that I'm on a life journey. And when I look at my problems in perspective to my life journey and that journey is going to end one day, I definitely sort out the big and little problems. So they're the 4 tips that sort of got me on the right track to sort of dealing with them a lot more effectively and not being so obsessed with them.
Don't you believe that problems, though, at the same time create your destiny? In other words, if problems didn't happen, for instance, had everything not gone wrong for you, you never would have written this book. And it's sort of like everything comes full circle. And I believe, like the woman who just called in, and maybe she really doesn't want to move now, but you know what? Maybe life is pushing her into another direction. And so sometimes instead of fighting problems and being distressed, maybe you should take it that maybe life is just trying, or destiny is trying to move you in the correct direction.
Yeah, move you along.
Yeah, well, I agree with you totally. Problems are there to teach us a lesson. They're there to tell us something. Either it's wrong or we're not moving in the right direction. Or as you say, I'm sorry, I love your book, Being. We're not doing everything we can do to be the perfect people we are. So sometimes problems push us towards to be who we are. As you say, to be all that we're created to be. And that's a good thing about problems. Actually, there's one question that's in the book, and people go, this is not going to help people. Take it out of the book. And it's, whenever I have a problem, especially one that's really upsetting me, I ask, what's good about this problem? And you think, well, that's a stupid question. There's nothing good about this problem. But there is. It's amazing. And looking back, I mean, losing my job was the best thing that ever happened to me. I wouldn't be here talking to you.
I like that.
So really, problems are sort of like they're helping us in a way. I mean, they don't leave us with great feelings, but the thing is, if you take notice of what they're trying to tell you, then you will grow and you will become a different person, or the person you're meant to be, as opposed to avoiding them and shrinking. And I think that it's important to realize that they're like anything else in our lives. They're there for a purpose. And fortunately, you're always going to have them. So don't worry, they're coming.
Yeah, very true, very true. You know, I look back and when I had my business, and I got to a point where I just couldn't do it anymore, and I was like, well, you know, it's always been very lucrative. It afforded me a certain amount of freedom. I really liked the relationship aspect of it, building relationships with my clients or customers, and developing a team, which is almost like a family in that microcosm of the business itself. But it got to the point where it kept trying to push me out. It got me out of my comfort zone, and it was pushing me towards who I really am, who I was meant to be. And without that turmoil, without the betrayals that were involved, without the economic issues that arose, I wouldn't be here today doing what I love to do.
Exactly. They're important, even though they're annoying and you don't want to have them. But they drive you.
Sure.
They drive you forward sometimes, where you would just sit back and cruise.
Yeah. So you know, we have to have and I found in that time also that I found myself kind of feeling like I was in a nothingness and wanting to look for different ways to make the time go by. I didn't fit there anymore. It was time to move on.
I have to say I've experienced the same thing, because I've been a teaching tennis professional since I can remember. I've never been without a job, and I just recently lost my job. And even though I've held a job, in the last few years I haven't been happy in what I've been doing. And so now that I'm not with that job, it's like, yes, it's a problem. I'm not making any money at the moment. But at the same time, it has enabled me, because now I have the time to work on what I truly wanted to do. Because there's nothing worse than, and I know there are hundreds of thousands of people around the world doing this, but there's nothing worse than being in a job or in a relationship that you're not happy in, going to work every day and not being happy, going home to a husband or wife that you're not happy with anymore. And we do that. We get stuck. And so, like I said, we get stuck and we don't want to solve the problem. And I love your 4 points. And I mean, I think it's great. And I look forward to reading your book.
Oh, thank you.
All right, we're going to have to take a quick break. We'll be back with more. Elizabeth
Yes, we need some single
Hanley. Right after these messages. Hold tight, everyone.
The best way to predict the future is to create it. The Intuitive Life Coach takes a metaphysical approach to life coaching, identifying root issues, accessing key problems, and formulating a highly effective approach and resolution. Through proven coaching techniques, the Intuitive Life Coach will help you to move confidently in the direction of your dreams. Author, counselor, teacher Ron Ash is the Intuitive Life Coach. Call 424-777-LAWS or connect online at theintuitivelifecoach.me.
All Hallows Eve Psychic Fair on Sunday, October 28th at the Crown Plaza Hotel, Warwick, Rhode Island, from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. The event features Sherry Lord, International Channel, Sheila Marie, Forensic Psychic Medium, CBS Radio's Behind the Paranormal with Paul and Ben Eno, ghost tours, psychic readings, group readings, and more. All Hallows Eve Psychic Fair, Sunday, October 28th at the Crown Plaza Hotel. Visit allhallowsevepsychicfair.com.
Reach out and communicate with your loved ones on Earth and in spirit via Diane Gian Lorenzo. Join Diane Gian Lorenzo, Spirit Communicator for humans and animals, Wednesdays at 11 a.m. Eastern on the Bean Talk Radio Network. Accurate, therapeutic, healing. Call Diane Gianlorenzo, Pet Psychic, at 386-308-1356 or visit DianeGianlorenzo.com.
Art Gutkin is a medical intuitive specializing in Akashic record meditation, energy healing, and other forms of relief. Through Art Gutkin's integrated regression healing technique, current illnesses that stem from childhood events and emotions are identified, permitting Art to assist in the resolution of the past and healing of the present. Open your eyes to a new outlook on life through Art Gutkin's gift, 888-506-5975 or medintuitive.com. Psychic medium Catherine Glass has a delightfully pleasing, empathetic approach that significantly contributes to her ability to advise, heal, and guide. Allow Catherine Glass to help you resolve life's issues through spirit communication, psychic intuitive readings, or reconnective healing. Be inspired by Catherine Glass Mondays at 11 a.m. Eastern on the Being Talk Radio Network. Counselor, healer, teacher, Catherine Glass. Psychic medium, 978-369-9228 or catherineglass.com.
Westside Yoga is the premier yoga center, committed to the integration of body, mind, and inner spirit. Whether you choose to participate in a single class for $10 or sign up for 2 weeks of unlimited classes for $35, Westside Yoga will help increase flexibility, alleviate stress, and improve memory and balance. Westside Yoga, 511 Broadway, Providence, Rhode Island. Visit westsideyogari.com or call 401-228-POSE. Westside Yoga, Yogana. Feel great.
Bridge the gap between Earth and the spiritual plane of existence. Join author and psychic medium Joseph Labruto III on a multi-dimensional journey of transformation every Tuesday at 11 a.m. on Being with Ron Ash. Communicate with a deceased loved one, the Ascended Masters, spirit guides, angels, and other spiritual beings, or ask Joseph about your career, relationship, or life path. There is more to life than what we know. Find the answers at www.psychicmediumjoseph.com.
Do you have a special gift that you'd like to share with the world? Then consider broadcasting your message on BTRN. The Being Talk Radio Network is local, national, and international broadcasting with powerful programs that enlighten minds and change lives. BTRN hosts are passionate about purpose, motivating listeners to confidently move forward in the direction of their dreams. To host a show on BTRN, call 401-640-GIFT. Become a part of the Being Talk Radio Network today and contribute to positive change tomorrow. We are BTRN, the Being Talk Radio Network.
Experience the power of being. Join author and intuitive life counselor Ron Ash on an infinite journey of enlightenment. Being explores the various modalities associated with self-help and spirituality. Master divine guidance. Connect to source energy and expand your consciousness. For a complete list of our affiliate stations and showtimes, visit beingwithronash.com.
Welcome back. That's Eric Peterson and his title, Rainbow. You can connect with Eric Peterson and all of our guests, past, present, and future at beingwithronash.com. You are Being with Ron Ash, Elizabeth Hanley, and Sean Bianca. Today we're talking about Elizabeth's book, No Problem, How to Focus on Solutions. I love the way the book is set up because not only is it very well outlined, but it also has some great cartoons, images in there as well that exemplify the points that you're trying to make. How did you come to this design of the internals of this book?
Oh, basically, as I said, I just collected all my notes, and there were a lot, and I just tried to figure out how to group them. Mm-hmm. And once I grouped them into the tips, I basically tried, I love illustrations because to me they sort of stick to my mind a lot better. Yeah. So I tried to find illustrations that illustrated the sort of important points in the tip, because then you sort of tend to remember something that's got an illustration with it a lot easier than words. Mm-hmm.
And there's also questions with like a workbook type of thing at the end of the chapters throughout the book to help you really figure out what direction you're going in, what you need to work on.
I didn't just want it to be a book on theory, like just information and advice. And so the first part of the book is about what the best advice is, and it's under the 4 tips. And the second part is it takes you through the 4 tips, and you can work through your problem in it. So you actually can physically start solving a problem. Mm-hmm. I didn't just want it to be reading and then you think, well, now what? Yeah. So after reading, and it's a very quick read. It's only about, the first half's about 90 pages. And then after that, there's a problem-solving guide, and you actually go through the tips with questions. And they're very powerful questions. They're questions you probably wouldn't normally ask yourself, mm-hmm. and which is what is something that I've discovered, that I now ask myself very different questions when a problem comes along than I used to. I stopped saying, oh, whose fault it is, why is this happening to me? Because mm-hmm. that never leads to solutions. More questions like, okay, so what can I do to fix this? I mean, this person's not going to help me, so what can I do? Or, what information do I need to find? And things like that. So the questions in the guide will help you work through the tips and hopefully help you see the problem differently. And through seeing things differently, we often find solutions.
Yeah,
that's a good point, because I'm very visual. And so that would be perfect for me, writing down, answering questions, writing down exactly what's going on, and then seeing it on paper, and I can see where that would be very helpful. And then you look at it, it's like, aha, this is what I need to do. So that's very good, very helpful.
It helps to identify the problems. Here's a question right here. What negative thoughts are making me unhappy about my problem? Negative thoughts, feelings, and emotions, these are things that are actually at the root of the creation of what we're experiencing, because we create things in our lives, and then later on we have to experience the fruition of those feelings and emotions that created that. We manifest things in our lives continually, whether it's what we want or what we don't want, but we have to live through the consequences of those thoughts, feelings, and emotions which created our experience.
Yes, exactly. We don't often realize, because when we have a problem, it's natural to be negative. Mm-hmm. We can't help it. It's what we'll do. But we don't realize that the longer we stay in that negative frame of mind, the more we manifest more negative things. So it is so important to move from that negative state to a helpful state. Even if you don't know how you're going to solve it, get yourself out of that and say, look, I don't know how I'm going to do this, but I'm going to do it. It'll be okay. And that's what I hope this book will do for people, get them out of that negative state of mind so they can start manifesting positive things to come to them.
Yeah. What am I grateful for in my life today? I love that, because gratitude is really key. That's really the base of our foundation for building our lives and getting away from those problems that are plaguing us. We have to concentrate on what is great right now rather than what is not exactly as we want it to be.
Focus on the positive.
Yeah.
When you're grateful, and you realize how much you have to be grateful for, you put the problem more in perspective, and the negative effect of the problem tends to go down. And this helps you because it brings you towards more helpful thinking. And ironically, it brings you more towards how you can solve the problem, because you're changing your state of mind from being downtrodden, feeling like everything's not going your way, to looking at what you're grateful for, changing your state into a more positive state, which brings more positive energy to you.
Yeah, the heart or soul is actually 5,000 times more powerful than the mind. So it's one thing when you think something in your head, because you can kind of change your thought patterns rather quickly. But the feelings that are associated with that, wow, that's really where the power is. That's really where we start pushing that energy in that direction. I often use the analogy of a swimming pool. When we were kids, we used to have a little swimming pool. We used to make whirlpools, so we would all stand in one direction and keep moving, and eventually that water would move in that same direction, and then sooner or later that energy would be so powerful that we could just lay back and the energy would take us.
Yes, that was in the book. I read about that.
See, I gave you a visual, Sean Bianca.
Yes, you did. Absolutely. And putting I think putting your heart and soul into something is truly what's needed, and in anything, and in terms of career and in terms of relationships, and just giving absolutely everything that you have. And if you do things halfway, you come out with a halfway result.
Or if you're moving in all different directions, picture yourself in that pool again with, say, 5 of your closest friends, and everybody decides, wait a second, I'm going to stand still, I'm going to go this way, I'm going to go counterclockwise, this one's going clockwise. What's going to happen? It's turmoil. You don't know where, your energy's just unfocused. And this goes back to the book, how to focus on solution. We need to focus on the solution, and we need to stay that course, don't we?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Okay, well, Elizabeth would know best. You're the problem solver.
Actually, I have to tell you something. When I was researching for the book, I found this quote, and I love it. It's at the time it really I could relate to it, and it said, "I'm not crazy about reality, but it's still the only place to get a decent meal." And that was Groucho Marx. So I thought that was great. I mean, I thought, my problems are, they may be here, but at least I can get a decent meal here as well.
Absolutely. So what would you like to leave our listeners with today, Elizabeth?
Well, basically, hopefully they will try at least to get the information they need, or try to look at things differently. And this is the way to solution. Try to get out of that the initial negative effect that problems have on you. And this is the most powerful thing that will push you forward into solutions. And if they want to have a better look at the book, it's on Amazon, so they can have a look in there and see what it's all about. There's some reviews on there, whatever, so they'll get a taste of the book there. But I really hope that people can do that, because I really loved your book, and it is all about us being who we were created to be. And that's what hopefully that people can move towards life to get the sort of life that they want. Yes.
Well, thank you for the compliment on my book.
That's all right.
The name of the book is No Problem. E.M. Hanley, Elizabeth Hanley, How to Focus on Solutions, available at Amazon. You can connect with Elizabeth, like you can connect with all of our guests, past, present, and future, at beingwithronash.com. Sean and I will be back right after the break. Hold tight. We'll see you in a few.
Experience the power of being. Join author and intuitive life counselor Ron Ash on an infinite journey of enlightenment. Being explores the various modalities associated with self-help and spirituality. Master divine guidance. Connect to source energy and expand your consciousness. For a complete list of our affiliate stations and showtimes, visit beingwithronash.com.
Rhode Island Natural Awakenings magazine is the perfect resource for those seeking a healthy, natural lifestyle. In every free monthly publication, you'll find practical, cutting-edge information on natural health, nutrition, personal growth, green living, creative expression, and more. Find Natural Awakenings wherever free magazines are found. Read it online at rinaturalawakenings.com or call 401-709-2473. Feel good, live simply, laugh more. Rhode Island Natural Awakenings magazine.
Benchmark Properties says, why pay your landlord's mortgage? Interest rates are low. Now's the time to buy. Benchmark Properties has the answers you've been looking for and knows the best way to sell in today's market. Whether you want to buy, sell, or explore alternatives to foreclosure, the Benchmark team of qualified professionals can help. Call 401-861-2777 for a free consultation and market analysis on your property. Visit Benchmark Properties online at benchmark-cells.com.
Art Gutkin is a medical intuitive specializing in Akashic record meditation, energy healing, and other forms of relief. Through Art Gutkin's integrated regression healing technique, current illnesses that stem from childhood events and emotions are identified, permitting Art to assist in the resolution of the past and healing of the present. Open your eyes to a new outlook on life through Art Gutkin's gift, 888-506-5975 or medintuitive.com.
Are you interested in promoting yourself, your business, or your platform? If so, you should contact RMA Associates for the most cost-effective ways to promote what you do. RMA has over 25 years of experience helping their clients grow while meeting the challenges of an ever-changing market. Email RMA today at rma.associates@yahoo.com for more information. Again, that's rma.associates@yahoo.com.
Capture the essence of the moment. Discover the possibilities for your future. The Tarot Life Coach uses an ancient form of counseling known as the Tarot to help you find the answers to life's many questions from an intuitive, spiritual perspective. Join psychic medium Tanya Melendez for the Tarot Life Coach, Thursdays at 11 a.m. Eastern on the Being Talk Radio Network. Romance, career, finance. Find the answers at www.tarotlifecoach.com.
Are you seeking guidance and clarity in your life? Internationally known psychic medium Sherry Hobson can guide you to a brighter future. Access your Akashic records revealing soul patterns that will help enable you to change your life. Or connect to your angelic guidance, spirit guides, or those who have crossed over. Schedule your private session today at 760-521-2027 or at sherryhobson.com.
The best way to predict the future is to create it. The Intuitive Life Coach takes a metaphysical approach to life coaching, identifying root issues, accessing key problems, and formulating a highly effective approach and resolution. Through proven coaching techniques, the Intuitive Life Coach will help you to move confidently in the direction of your dreams. Author, counselor, teacher Ron Ash is the Intuitive Life Coach. Call 424-777-LAWS or connect online at theintuitivelifecoach.me.
Westside Yoga is the premier yoga center, committed to the integration of body, mind, and inner spirit. Whether you choose to participate in a single class for $10 or sign up for 2 weeks of unlimited classes for $35, Westside Yoga will help increase flexibility, alleviate stress, and improve memory and balance. Westside Yoga, 511 Broadway, Providence, Rhode Island. Visit westsideyogari.com or call 401-228-POSE. Westside Yoga, Yogana. Feel great.
True knowledge evokes wisdom. Wisdom is knowledge in practice. Selective knowledge facilitates error. In spirit is truth. Darshini in Spirit will help you find the answers you seek. Darshini sees. Internationally renowned clairvoyant and spiritual guide Darshini has a refreshingly honest and candid style that contributes greatly to her ability to counsel, heal, and guide. Motivational speaker, author, teacher. Experience Darshini in Spirit at 714-348-9994. Visit darshini-inspirit.com.
Do you have a special gift that you'd like to share with the world? Then consider broadcasting your message on BTRN. The Being Talk Radio Network is local, national, and international broadcasting with powerful programs that enlighten minds and change lives. BTRN hosts are passionate about purpose, motivating listeners to confidently move forward in the direction of their dreams. To host a show on BTRN, call 401-640-GIFT. Become a part of the Being Talk Radio Network today and contribute to positive change tomorrow. We are BTRN, the Being Talk Radio Network.
Everything is about you.
Welcome back. That's Stacey Davidson bringing us back from break with her title, Everything Is About You, from her album, Narrow Gate. You can connect with Stacey and all of our guests, past, present, and future, at beingwithronash.com. That's beingwithronash.com. We are talking about no problems, how to focus on solutions. A fascinating topic, and really applies to so many areas in our lives. I really love these questions, Sean, as I'm looking through more and more. What is good about my problem? How do you think that is a good question. Apply to your relationship if you're really looking at it, right, as a lesson?
Absolutely. No, I believe every problem has something that some good can come out of. Mm-hmm. And that you can learn from. And I think that's a great way of looking at it. If you look at problems in a positive way, then it'll help you all the more to turn things around. Mm-hmm. So I love the way Elizabeth has put things.
Yeah. You'll love this book. What can I learn from my problem? That's another great thing to look into, because they're all little lessons and they all move us along.
Exactly.
Onto our path. Even sometimes we talk about things, that was just such a big waste of time. I remember being in that situation years ago, and I went to go look at, I had a center, creative cultural center open, and it was in an area that was pretty noisy, and I wanted someplace a little more quiet. So one of the members of the center said, that they're selling a a Masonic temple in Situate Village, which is like a quaint little quiet little village. People walk around and stop in at different shops and things. So I went up there to go look at it, and saw that it was changed a lot. And I said, well, maybe it would be interesting to see what it originally looked like. So I walked across the street and I talked to a couple of people, and they said, actually, they have a picture at the library in Situate right now on display. I guess the owners of the photo are letting them borrow it. And I said, well, let's take a ride over there and we'll go check it out. And just like Elizabeth was saying about, being in front of these 100 or so self-help books, I found myself at a table with a bunch of the book sale was $1 books. You ever go to a $1 book sale? Pretty cool.
No, I haven't.
I looked down at the ground, and there was a box of metaphysical books.
Oh, wow.
So my sister and I actually, bent down and picked up a couple, and, we bought a few. And in the car on the way back, she's like, Ronnie, you got to look at this book. This guy sounds just like you. It was an ascended master named Kutumi, and she's like, it's like reading you. The personality, the philosophy of life. And, I picked up the book. I took it home. I couldn't put it down. I was astounded. It was almost as if, well, it was exactly that. I was being led to information that I needed to move on, and then all these different connections were made, and it's all part of, our life. It's given us the tools that we need to move forward. And you talk on your blog a lot about the various relationships that you've experienced, and there were all lessons in those too, right?
Oh, exactly. I think every relationship you come out, and I'll never forget, I read an article, and Jennifer Aniston was asked whose fault her divorce with Brad Pitt was, and she said that someone told her, even if it's 10% her fault, it always takes 2. And it may be 90% the other person, it may be 10% the other person, but still there was a good 10%. And I believe in relationships, both people are definitely to fault. And yes, there may be one more than the other, but I've learned so much. And, at the time, like when Elizabeth was talking about how, she lost her job and her boyfriend wasn't calling. And you know what? Obviously, there was someone better out there. And I think when so many men and women lose a relationship, they are in the moment of, I've lost this person. And instead, I think it's good to look at, okay, what did I do wrong? What can I do better in the next relationship? And if it was meant to be, you'd still be with that person. And that's the way I kind of look at it. And because I know where I've, what I've done wrong in different relationships, and I know what I've done right. But I think you can definitely learn from problems and what you do wrong in life and turn it into a positive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we learn different things from the experience, the good experience as well as the bad experiences, and some things may not necessarily be true, but they're true for us. Like, for example, I had some issues with the relationship where the girl had a lot of very close friends, and I found myself constantly in a situation where I didn't even know if I was dealing with her or if I was dealing with all of her friends.
That's funny. I had a friend that used to do that. She used to bring all of her girlfriends on the date with her. Wow. And as a guy,
I would have rather
had
that. At least I would know where the information's coming from. I would encourage that.
But as a guy, I mean, you have to think, okay, can I be with this girl at least once, once or twice alone? And, I mean, that has to be difficult. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, I would say that relationship didn't last, correct?
Yeah, my issue was more or less that, she wasn't using her heart, using her mind. I was getting information. Oh, she was making decisions based on what her girlfriends were saying, but they did not have the whole story. They only had bits and pieces. And
okay.
They were giving advice based on their experiences. And everybody's experiences in different circumstances are different.
You're absolutely right. And you know what? So many times women do that where they only tell part of the story. Mm-hmm. They only tell the part of the story that they want their girlfriends to hear.
Oh, yeah.
And
big problem.
I mean, I know. I've at times I've done it myself. And my mother, when I was younger, she would hear me on the phone and she'd say, "Now, wait a minute. Mm-hmm. You left out this part." You're not giving her exactly. And I mean, I'm sure guys at the same time do the same thing because we want to paint ourselves better than we are, of course. Mm-hmm. And that we are not the problem, possibly. Mm-hmm. And you always have to tell the whole kit and caboodle. And that's the thing. I think a lot of people, Elizabeth, when she mentioned owning it, mm-hmm. you need to own it, and you need to own it in relationships. You need to own what you did wrong in order to move forward.
And forgive ourselves for it. We have to forgive ourselves for it. And it applies to so many other things, not just relationships. And I wrote about this in my first book, that many times we tell other people in our lives, just our side of the story, or we paint a very poor picture of the individual that may be our partner in romance, finance, or business, or what have you, and they are basing their advice on those half-truths or lies. So guess what? When we find ourselves in that situation, we always get the wrong advice, and we will continue on that wrong path. We really have to build our house on a rock as opposed to sand, and when we do that, we start to believe those falsities, and the people around us give us advice based on those falsities, and when you get false information, you make false decisions, and you create a larger problem.
Absolutely. There's no way to fix it. I mean, unless you're willing to own it and take responsibility, you can't fix the problem. Mm-hmm. That's the bottom line. In anything, in business, in friendships, in family relationships, and in relationships. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, no one's perfect. No one's perfect. We're not perfect, and we do need to not be so hard on ourselves as mm-hmm. well.
Yeah.
And bury ourselves because we know we did something wrong in terms of business or a relationship, because burying ourselves isn't going to cause productivity.
No, we need to forgive ourselves, learn from it, and move on. Very important.
Absolutely. And I mean, I know for myself, I kind of, it was funny because Elizabeth said we can't just, live like in the past and blame mm-hmm. other people. and I'm divorced, and I did, it's not. I guess I blamed my ex-husband for the fact that I married him because he portrayed himself to be this, near perfect guy and this guy that I wanted. And when push came to shove, after I married him, he wasn't the person I thought he was. And you know what? I knew that a month before I married him, and I still made the choice.
It did make a difference.
So I have to own it.
Yeah. Sean Bianca, I'd rather be single for now. You've been Being with Ron Ash on the Being Talk Radio Network. We'll see you all on the radio real soon. And as always, you can learn about all of our guests, past, present, and future, at beingwithronash.com.
Special gift that you'd like to share with the world? Then consider broadcasting your message on BTRN. The Being Talk Radio Network is local, national, and international broadcasting with powerful programs that enlighten minds and change lives. BTRN hosts are passionate about purpose, motivating listeners to confidently move forward in the direction of their dreams. To host a show on BTRN, call 401-640-GIFT. Become a part of the Being Talk Radio Network today and contribute to positive change tomorrow. We are BTRN, the Being Talk Radio Network.
The best way to predict the future is to create it. The Intuitive Life Coach takes a metaphysical approach to life coaching, identifying root issues, accessing key problems, and formulating a highly effective approach and resolution. Through proven coaching techniques, the Intuitive Life Coach will help you to move confidently in the direction of your dreams. Author, counselor, teacher Ron Ash is the Intuitive Life Coach. Call 424-777-LAWS or connect online at theintuitivelifecoach.me.
Psychic medium Catherine Glass has a delightfully pleasing, empathetic approach that significantly contributes to her ability to advise, heal, and guide. Allow Catherine Glass to help you resolve life's issues through spirit communication, psychic intuitive readings, or reconnective healing. Be inspired by Catherine Glass Mondays at 11 a.m. Eastern on the Being Talk Radio Network. Counselor, healer, teacher Catherine Glass. Psychic medium 978-369-9228 or catherineglass.com.
Bridge the gap between Earth and the spiritual plane of existence. Join author and psychic medium Joseph LeBrudo III on a multi-dimensional journey of transformation every Tuesday at 11 a.m. on Being with Ron Ash. Communicate with a deceased loved one, the Ascended Masters, spirit guides, angels, and other spiritual beings. Or ask Joseph about your career, relationship, or life path. There is more to life than what we know. Find the answers at www.psychicmediumjoseph.com.
Reach out and communicate with your loved ones on Earth and in spirit via Diane Gian-Lorenzo. Join Diane Gian-Lorenzo, Spirit Communicator for humans and animals, Wednesdays at 11 a.m. Eastern on the Being Talk Radio Network. Accurate, therapeutic, healing. Call Diane Gian-Lorenzo, Pet Psychic, at 386-308-1356 or visit DianeGianLorenzo.com.
Capture the essence of the moment. Discover the possibilities for your future. The Tarot Life Coach uses an ancient form of counseling known as the Tarot to help you find the answers to life's many questions from an intuitive, spiritual perspective. Join psychic medium Tanya Melendez for the Tarot Life Coach, Thursdays at 11 a.m. Eastern on the Being Talk Radio Network. Romance, career, finance. Find the answers at www.tarotlifecoach.com.
Are you seeking guidance and clarity in your life? Internationally known psychic medium Sherry Hobson can guide you to a brighter future. Access your Akashic records revealing soul patterns that will help enable you to change your life or connect to your angelic guidance. spirit guides, or those who have crossed over. Schedule your private session today at 760-521-2027 or at sherryhobson.com.
True knowledge evokes wisdom. Wisdom is knowledge in practice. Selective knowledge facilitates error. In spirit is truth. Darshini in Spirit will help you find the answers you seek. Darshini sees. Internationally renowned clairvoyant and spiritual guide Darshini has a refreshingly honest and candid style that contributes greatly to her ability to counsel, heal, and guide. Motivational speaker, author, teacher. Experience Darshini in Spirit at 714-348-9994. Visit darshini-inspirit.com.
Experience the power of being. Join author and intuitive life counselor Ron Ash on an infinite journey of enlightenment. Being explores the various modalities associated with self-help and spirituality. Master divine guidance, connect to source energy, and expand your consciousness. For a complete list of our affiliate stations and showtimes, visit beingwithronash.com.
You're listening to Spreaker Web Radio.
Of the coming of the Lord, He is trampling out the vintage where the grapes of wrath are stored.
Neither the United States of America nor the world community of nations can tolerate deliberate deception and offensive threats on the part of any nation.
I will make you understand.
Hey everybody, I'm Tony Jones, and welcome to the Tony Jones Show.
It's not enough. People are willing to take the risk. It's just sort of a herd mentality, a lemming-like mentality. If you don't go with the flow, you're anti-American and therefore a suspect.
The Tony Jones Show, featuring punk, rockabilly, psychobilly, and Providence, Rhode Island's finest, starts right now.
He's a dangerous militia member, I hear. Oh, and there she blows.
Give it to me. She's got a body just like an hourglass. I'm taking my time, taking my time. I wanna be the sand inside that hourglass. Take it slow, oh, oh. She's got a body, yeah. She's got a body, yeah. I wanna be the sand inside that hourglass. Take it slow, oh, oh. Make it alive.
Friends, the time for mediocrity in broadcasting is over. My name is Tony Jones, and you are listening to The Tony Jones Show, your destination for talk and rock. With me, as always, is my co-host, Mr. George Garner. George, good evening.
Good evening, as always.
What's new and exciting with you this week? Anything?
I've basically just been decompressing after the mediocrity of the political campaign.
You've been hibernating?
Recovering.
He's in political recovery.
Best way to put it.
Which is what we're going to talk a little bit about tonight. But I don't want to talk too much about the post-mortem. I do want to touch on it a little bit, but it is a little bit like beating a dead horse at this point. And, well, emotions are running high all over the place. And it's an interesting time. Very interesting time. I just want to mention real quick before we get to that and to our in-studio guest, Mr. Todd Giroux. I just want to mention real quick, if you're catching the live show, this Saturday at Firehouse 13, big Wounded Warrior benefit. Those Alone, the Magunks, King Sickabilly One-Man Band, a band that you've heard on this very program, and a fantastic band called Tony Jones and the Cretan Three. And that's all to benefit Wounded Warrior Project that's happening this Saturday at Firehouse 13, one of our fantastic watering holes in Providence.
Home's away from home.
It is our home away from home. Firehouse 13, or fh13.com is their website for more information on that show. And I just have to shoot them a big shout out, a big thank you to Firehouse 13, because it is very difficult to find a venue that will let us keep 100% of the profits and give it to our charity. You know,
that's impressive.
Yeah, most places they want you to pay for their door guy and their sound guy and their bartender, and then maybe if there's a little bit left, here you go, you can give this to your charity. But with Firehouse 13, all the money that comes to the door goes straight to our charity. They don't take a cut. We don't take a cut. All the bands are playing for free. And I can't think of very many venues that will let you do that. So. Support Firehouse 13. And then real quick, this week I launched a new website. It's called anarchoradio.com. It's not quite there yet, but I'm working on it. It's like this show times a whole station of content 24/7. So check out anarchoradio.com, and there'll be much more to come on that.
In other words, Tony Jones has undertaken another major project.
I have.
How many is this?
Countless. There's countless projects everywhere, but with political season being over, the schedule has eased up a little bit. But, after the election, I am more excited about the stuff we're doing with independent media and alternative media and alternative press, because I think it is something that needs to be done. And, well, all of the gentlemen in this very room are getting that done. Todd Giroux is our guest in studio talking. We're going to just talk about everything, but tell us a little bit about the show you have on an alternative media outlet, which is 990wbob.com.
Good evening, Tony and George. Thanks for having me here. I do a show on called GX Radioactive on WBOB, great internet radio, and thankfully the FCC and the government hasn't gotten their hands too far
yet
into internet radio, but people are choosing what they listen to more and more. I do an NPR style show, and it continues my efforts for yours and I life, what we call Main Street, and I'm fighting the fight for people of Main Street. I talk about it, and I'm trying to work between the Republican and Democrat Party and all the independents out there, and I've got my ear to the ground. I listen. I hear people's frustrations with the courts. I've got friends that have issues getting beat up with the cops and foreclosures, and so, you know, we've got our hands in a lot of issues, and we hope to really just understand it and lead it and change and make life better for people in the future.
So and I just want to mention that if you are catching the live program, you can go to facebook.com/Tony Jones Show and chime in there if you have any questions or comments or feedback. What do you got? And maybe, George, you could chime in on this too. What do you think about the elections and the fact that in Rhode Island specifically nothing has changed, and on the state level definitely nothing has changed?
Well, yeah, I mean, when you can start at the state level, and then actually I think the final total for the political season was $6 billion spent, you know, from the presidential race all the way down to the local elections. So we basically spent $6 billion and ended up with the same cast of characters. What I find encouraging, maybe because I'm so relieved that the whole process is over for another little while.
Just a little while.
Just a little while.
Races.
Right. But I am looking on the bright side, I guess, in this political decompression mood. I noticed our friend Mr. Vogel, who's appeared on this program, had attained 6% of the vote.
He did very well. He's got 6% of the vote and spent $97.
No, I think he told us the last time he was stopped by that he broke 100.
Oh yeah, if you include
gas, exactly. And I noticed that some of our other libertarian candidates, the numbers weren't huge by Democrat and Republican standards, but the numbers are significant in the sense, if you really stop and think about how many people heard them, like, for example, I think Vogel, how many actual votes did he get? Was it 8,000, 9,000?
About 10,000, I want to say.
10,000.
And then
okay.
Abel Collins broke about 20,000.
20,000
in CD2. So
yeah, and that's significant.
That was 6% in that race also.
Yeah, so the percentage is low, but those numbers are significant. That means that a combined total of 20, 28, 30,000 citizens, have heard, the independent message.
If you think, I think in general, I feel like the numbers are up in general. In past elections, I think the independents were scoring a bit lower, and I think the trend is that people are, listening and really making choices, just like they are with internet radio, and. So that's the message we've got to keep alive.
Yeah, because they finally started to resist that propaganda by the Democrats and Republicans that a vote for an independent takes a vote away from, choose your party. Right. I mean, that to me is like the big propaganda. That's the big rhetoric of the major parties.
Or they still believe that, and they're just so disgusted that they don't care.
They don't care anymore, which is another positive sign.
Wasted vote syndrome.
As much as we want to look to the future and have legislation that isn't, really pushed by big money interests, more towards Main Street interests. As we do that, that's what's going to really turn the tide over.
Yeah,
and we've talked about it before with you, Todd, and with other independent candidates or just third-party candidates, is that if something like that were to happen, Rhode Island would be a place that it is most conducive because you can cover a lot of the ground. You can get 10,000 votes on $100, which is...
My challenge now is to focus on that long stride, but we have to work with the people that are elected right now. We can't waste any time. I think it's a shame Dan Gordon couldn't make it here today because he's most familiar with how to get new legislation passed through the House and work with people that have been elected.
Right, and my
it's a challenge to them.
Yeah, my political terminology isn't maybe up to par, but it seems to me we're talking about if we have 30,000 citizens who supported the independence in the state of Rhode Island, that's a pretty good-sized lobby group for a state this big. The trick is to get that 30,000 dissatisfied block of voters to agree on maybe a couple of things in common, so that so that the mainstream politicians can be successfully lobbied.
Tony has done a great job, being connected to the city and the band scene, and it brings an energy. And I think, Tony, you really a remarkable guy for having the endurance to do this. That's the kind of energy that this ground game is going to need.
Right, and we will need, and we will also need, like I say, to agree on a couple of topics of paramount.
That's right.
Interest.
How to tie it together, how to bring these people together in groups and really make something happen.
Right, and when we go to the elected major representatives, rather than just complain, we need to have, okay, we would like you to concentrate, we would like you to focus your attention on this, and this. A small number of definite objectives.
I think we shouldn't underestimate Occupy. I think there's a lot of groups out there that are interested in doing foreclosure work, whether it's the First Unitarian Church in Providence with the Take Back Homes program or DARE up on the south side. Understanding that these homes have been sold, they can't be sold in the public marketplace, and yet behind the scenes they're sold 2 and 3 times in one day once the banks get their hands on them. And, most of these folks can afford their homes. I talk about a refinance plan for Main Street and a Green Jobs WPA. And today being Veterans Day, we've got every more reason to realize that these people were trained by the military. They're great citizen leaders, and, they can work with the civilian population here on the jobs training and to be put together in work modules where we can respond. Just right now, 150 miles away, there are people without electricity talking how this is like Armageddon conditions. And I think we've got to have a strong ground game and connect civilians. And that's the most direct way to influence our local leaders that have just been elected.
Right.
16 minutes past the hour right here on the Tony Jones Show. We have so much to get to, but before that, we're going to play some rock and roll. Here are the Ramones. This track is called, well, it's a very fitting title. It's called I'm Affected, right here on the Tony Jones Show.
drums and loud guitars, oh yeah. Leather spikes, sing songs, pump your fists and shout along, oh yeah. Where practice goes, yeah. Where practice goes, whoa. Where practice goes, all night long. Where practice goes, yeah. Where practice goes, whoa. Where practice goes, all night long. Where practice goes, yeah. Where practice goes. Where practice goes, all night
We're cracking skulls right here on the Tony Jones Show, George.
We're straining the gray matter inside our skulls.
Who was the name of the artist we just heard, please?
Would that be the CD case we handed me?
Yes.
That would be Sans Nomenclature.
Right here on the Tony Jones Show. Before that, we heard from the Ramones, I'm Affected. It is, and I never thought I'd see the day, and it is crazy. We were just talking while we were enjoying the rock and roll music here in the studio that it seems kind of confirmed that Louisiana is collecting, they're petitioning, they're collecting signatures, and they would like to secede from the United States of America, which is just, I don't know, that racks my brain, it startles me, and I can't believe I'm seeing something like that in my lifetime.
Now, when you say they're collecting petitions, is it like one website and 10 petitioners?
Yeah, it's hard to tell.
Because the size of it would be significant.
I read an article right before the show, and it seemed like it had actually been submitted.
Yeah. That's what it seems now, is that they have about 10,000 signatures, and it seems to be something that is going to go to their state legislature, and they would like to secede.
The unsettling thing isn't that it's going to happen, because it's not. The unsettling thing is that 10,000 citizens of a given state would, we all, complain, okay, the president did this, we don't like that or whatever. But 10,000 citizens taking it to the point where it's actually submitted. That shows some serious discontent.
Yeah.
Well, if you call it chatter, gosh, folks are talking about Texas for years, seceding.
Right.
This move with Louisiana is chatter for states' rights all over the internet. It's out there.
Yeah, but it's not only chatter. It seems like people, these days it's a more deep-seated discontent or disaffectation, if I can pronounce that word. It seems with the United States, with the policy. In other words, than there used to be. It used to be people. At least in regular day-to-day life, people say they would complain, or they would badmouth and things like that, but not beyond a certain point, not beyond a certain level. Now it seems like, they mean it.
I found a posting a short while ago. It's on my Facebook page, and it was of the states that allowed slavery 150 years ago, and all those red states were. They voted for Romney this election.
Uh-huh.
It's a transparency of three different things, from the slavery to Civil War and things like this, and it's just amazing. It's the states that voted for Obama were abolished slavery first,
uh-huh.
and the states that voted for Romney, it's the same layover map.
Well, I'll tell you. I've noticed.
It's frightening to think how much discrimination really is.
Yeah. Well,
underlying,
And how much things haven't changed. Hundreds of years have passed, and we're still.
Well, that's the thing, Tony. It's not really hundreds. If you look, let's see, the Civil War took place in, the 1860s.
Yep.
It's only 2012 going on 13. 150 years. That's not long at all.
Yeah, I guess maybe in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, it's not. And I don't think the effects of the Civil War or the circumstances that caused the Civil War, I don't think they've ever been directly dealt with, since that time. I don't think this country as a country has ever addressed racism head on. I don't think they've ever addressed a lot of the other underlying issues that caused the Civil War head on either. It's kind of been like swept aside, spoken of in euphemisms, swept under the rug. I mean, we saw it when President Obama was running for office. Saying all the euphemisms.
Oh yeah.
People are bending over backwards to come up with euphemisms. Why you didn't want to vote for him because he's black. Oh well, he doesn't have enough experience. He doesn't. This, that, and the other thing. Or Romney. Let's see. We don't want to vote for him. We could say, okay, he's a Mormon. We don't want to say that. He's not. It's not because he's a Mormon. It's because he's this, and this. I mean, people. We've been using euphemisms for 150 years.
Well, thank God that I'm personally glad Obama won, and I'm glad the United States is pushing towards more civil liberties for everybody, and we see. I'm glad I'm part of a community that supports that. And so much of the nation just demonstrated that again, that those hard, left principles of discrimination and lack of, trying to put people out and away from opportunity, that there's an equal reaction, and that's, communities are bound together. We realize we all have to work together, and we have the opportunity to do that.
Well, some of us realize that. What disturbs me is, and like I say, I don't care about political. I'm a Republican who voted for Obama. I mean, fine, but what I'm saying is that the people who are determined to not be content, to not leave the past behind.
Oh, sure. We probably need a strong education point in those states specifically.
Well, they're a lot more organized.
They're a lot more passionate.
They're a lot more. That Tony's hit it right on the head.
Well,
those people are a lot more passionate than the people who just want to get along.
To remind a younger generation exactly why we're moving towards a more progressive country as a whole, because we have to. We can't.
You think we are, though? That's my question.
Well, if the Republicans were served in this election, as you say, it clearly demonstrates that those hard left principles aren't accepted.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't win.
Hard left or hard right? When you say hard left principles, hard right.
Oh, I apologize. Yeah, the hard Republican, hard right principles.
Well, it was but the interesting thing is, you just made, I'll say a Freudian slip, but it's interesting that, to me, the hard right and the hard left are often, they could be interchangeable.
Oh, it is a full circle.
Right back around, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, intolerance on both sides, and it meets in a circle.
Well, when you talk in these terms, it reminds me that we probably need stronger education in those areas to remind people how we've conquered women's rights. We've conquered slavery.
We've conquered women's rights.
Well, I mean,
Watch out! That's the kind of statement that could ban you from politics for the rest of your life.
They couldn't vote. They couldn't vote 100 years ago.
No, I'm just joking, saying watch your wording.
Appreciate that.
So my favorite question that all the pundits are talking about, and I've been asked to weigh in on it, and I could really care either way, and that is, in the election post-mortem, is the Republican Party dying on the vine? And that seems to be the popular opinion, that we could see in our lifetime or in the next election cycles, this major party go the way of the dodo.
Well, I say good riddance to it, because I'm a registered Republican, but this is not the Republican Party that I considered myself a part of, and it's not the kind of Republican principles I support. So if it wants to go along the ways that it's going, then good riddance to it. We'll replace it with something else. We'll replace it with the Libertarians. We'll replace it with, we'll replace it with an alternative.
I think Republicans would be just fine if they could be just a bit more moderate and not be so...
True. I agree 100%.
So offensive to the sitting president. I mean, outright, doing everything he could to stand in his way.
I agree. That's what I mean when I say, this is not the Republican Party that I support. And they're becoming more radical and immoderate.
Instead, what we got was, just a standoff battle where it caused the bond rating of the United States to be compromised. And the only one that wins that day, it continues to be the banks.
Yeah, and Standard & Poor, because they made a grandstanding stunt happen that the world took notice of.
Right.
And the thing is, too, which is scary, well, not scary, but kind of scary, is that it seems that the old guard of the Republican Party, the more hardcore types, they don't feel that they lost because they need to become more moderate. they feel that they lost because they need to become more conservative.
Yeah, they were criticizing their candidate for not being conservative enough.
How can you think that?
Yeah, I don't know how you could have made that idiot Ryan more conservative. I mean, and even Romney, I don't know. I don't know. I don't see how you could have made them more conservative.
Although it would have been cool to have Bat Boy as a vice president.
Well, like I say, on my show, I nominated Vladimir Putin for president of the United States. That's more conservative. Maybe that's what they're looking for.
The Republicans, he could launch a write-in. The Republicans
there you go.
Go for that. Let's get to some music, and then we're going to come back. We're going to talk about a few more things because I want to talk about education, and I want to bring it back down to the state level too. So we still have a lot to talk about, but unfortunately the show is half over. But here's a song by the Cramps. It's good advice for anybody, whether they're Republican or Democrat or a Green or a Libertarian. This song is called Don't Eat Stuff Off the Sidewalk. You heard it here, right on The Tony Jones Show.
Let me give you some advice. Don't eat stuff off the sidewalk. No, don't eat stuff off the sidewalk. You don't need it, so don't eat it. Don't eat stuff off the sidewalk. No matter how good it looks. You better go by the book. Leave it there, don't you dare. Eat stuff off the sidewalk. Don't eat stuff out of garbage either, you know what'll happen to you.
Show ya
Lords of the Highway right here on the Tony Jones Show. Before that, we heard from the Cramps. Good advice for everybody. Don't eat stuff off the sidewalk. And just want to mention real quick, Lords of the Highway contacted me, and they sent me their CD, and now they're being played on this very show. And I haven't mentioned in a few weeks' time, but we're actually going to do all local music next week. We're going to do our duty next week. So if you're in a local band, TonyJones.org, or you can email me, TonyJones@cbgb.net. And that's the best way to get a hold of me, to get me your stuff. If you want to be here on the AM dial, on the over-the-air radio, it's better for you to send me a physical CD. For the internet stuff, an MP3 is fine, and that's to TonyJones@cbgb.net. Yes, I am holding out there with the cbgb.net email address, George.
Impressive. Nostalgia has its grip on you.
And I'm always afraid, because it's CBGB has been closed down for so long, and I think someone else owns the rights, and I'm always afraid that I'm going to go to log into that email address and it's just going to be gone. It's just not going to exist anymore because
Disney will probably buy it at some point. They've bought everything else.
It is almost like having an AOL address or a Hotmail address or something,
Yeah, and mentioned 20 potential bands that might be sending us their CDs or communicating with you in some other way. Try to put a little work into those CDs, because a lot of times, like Tony said in the past, you come up with some great songs, you come up with some great packaging, but then you skimp on the recording process and
a little oomph.
Yeah, and we don't want to have your CD here and then find out that it's unplayable because of sound quality.
And something that we have always used, and I think a lot of bands have used, and it always seems to work, is the car stereo trick, and that is when you're done recording, when you think you're done, bring it out to your car stereo. You play a track that you like, whoever it is, one of your favorite songs, one of the songs that get you playing the drums on the steering wheel, You play that, and then right after that you play your recording, and you see if they stack up.
Or better yet, just mix it in randomly with several other songs.
Yeah, I never tried that.
And let it play. That'll tell you if you're ready.
So, 40 minutes past the hour right here on the Tony Jones Show. Todd Drew is in studio with me, my co-host, Mr. George Garner. You guys both know me personally, and you probably know that I'm pretty excited. It's something that I've been advocating for a long time, and that is the legalization of marijuana.
Yes, you have.
2 states have made it legal, Colorado and Washington, which is a huge step, and it's exciting to see going forward what's going to happen with this whole movement, because there's been people working on this since it's been illegal.
Yeah, is this why your girlfriend tells me that there is now luggage packed in your the front hall of your apartment?
Why is Craigslist Colorado up on your screen? Because I don't think I'd want to go to Washington, but I don't think I'd like either of those states, to tell you the truth.
Okay, so we'll just have to continue lobbying around here.
And now anybody listening from Colorado or Washington, please don't send me hate mail, but...
Well, there's a lot of industrial uses for hemp. There's recreation that, there's people that are sick with cancer, and there's just so many reasons to support legalization.
You're right. Kidding aside, there's no reason to keep it illegal, basically. There really isn't.
And there's, a big issue is that if the feds are going to crack down, or what's going to happen next, and at least we're getting to that point. At least it's been...
We can acknowledge that there are products. The cotton industry was the major influence of hemp being banned, because the plantation owners who wanted to promote the use of cotton and versus the industrial use of hemp, and so our laws have been really skewed over the years. For many products, it happens every day. It's easier to introduce a product. I've one client who's a medical inventor, and it's much easier to have a product released in Europe than it is in the United States.
I didn't know that. That's an interesting point.
Hemp is like a superfood. It's crazy.
Right, and it was just a rivalry between 2 competing industries, hemp and cotton, that got it.
And so with hemp, you can buy it here. You just can't grow it here. So there are people buying hemp milk and whatever it may be, hemp food. And
Think about the issue regarding energy and Tesla. and the suppression of technology that it really privatized, and it was
let's tell our listeners that Tesla is an all-electric independent auto company.
He's not talking about the heavy metal band from the 80s.
I'm talking about the inventor himself, who we had ways of distributing electricity, without it all having to be sold to every individual on the planet, and the next it'll be oxygen. And it's water now. It's becoming water.
Oh, we're going to fight wars over water.
And so that's what happens with these industrials, and we have to realize that Main Street, we're the last stand. I forget which country it is down in South America. I don't know if it's can't remember which one it is, but the privatization of water down there became such a issue and such a burden on the local community, it created almost a civil war, and the people won, and that's the ground game that we talk about is we have to be united behind these very basic issues that affects the cost and the ability for us to afford to live daily.
Well, as far as this whole issue of hemp being illegal, marijuana being illegal, wasn't that more of wasn't it? As I think we've talked about this before on the show from time to time, that it was more of an issue, a law enforcement issue, whereas they did away with prohibition and they needed to keep something else or make something else illegal to keep all those cops on the payroll and that big law enforcement bureaucracy rolling along. I mean, is that where we are right now? Is that why these substances are still illegal?
Well, there'll be a lot of those things working together. You have that bureaucracy, then you have the industry that wants to keep it away, and
right.
It all comes together. And there's people in the street yelling, "What about the children?" And
I guess that's true. When you say what is the cause of, that's the wrong question, because there's always going to be many causes.
Multiple causes.
But
getting back to Tesla, and without getting into all the conspiracy theories, wasn't that the same deal kind of with DeLorean? The development of that car, where parts would be a lot cheaper. I can't recall.
I know DeLorean took a lot of grief, but there was some question about whether he screwed the company up himself or whether it was outside forces or both.
Any new automobile, wasn't there an automobile Tucker?
Yeah, the Tucker. Yeah,
that was another ground up startup that was really squished by the entire industry, and lives get threatened. This big business, and what's happening with banking. I mean, I used to rent my house as a sort of vacation rental thing, and I had folks that were Wall Street investors. In my own home, I've had the conversation, the heavy conversations about banking, and they'll be quick to say, in my own home, one of these guys says to me, we'll have a bomb thrown at us if we don't reciprocate, and right. So they go right to the threat game, and we see with countries like Iceland how when people unite, they put the criminal bankers in jail, and foreclosures were ended in Iceland, and we don't have to do debt forgiveness. We don't have to do handouts. I talk about a refinance plan for Main Street that's accountability and not handouts. People need a chance to succeed.
Yeah, well, it's like we were saying earlier that the opposition is too fragmented. Let's say the banks, they have unity of purpose. The opposition is fragmented.
It's the same thing that happened. We just talked about the bond rating of the United States. Okay, what is default trigger? Default always triggers, layers and layers of notice of this and demand and, demand for payment. And some folks say the United States has been in bankruptcy since the 1930s. Yeah. So the last thing we need is to have our bond rating and suffer and trigger a whole cascading legal event where the banks,
Yeah, I think that whole bond rating thing, not to get too far afield, but I think that whole Standard & Poor's thing was more of a stunt. It was a grandstanding stunt by Standard & Poor's because, to try to reclaim their sense of importance and their image of importance. Because don't forget that Standard & Poor's was the same rating agency that rated all these toxic mortgages and worthless mortgages AAA. And they were taking a lot of heat and a lot of grief from a lot of quarters over, basically they lied. I mean, basically they said that worthless mortgages, mortgages default worthy were AAA. And that was one of the big reasons that precipitated the financial crash in 2008. So I think downgrading the credit of the United States, I think that was a grandstanding stunt by them. That doesn't mean that we don't have a big debt. That doesn't mean that we don't have all these other issues. But
our country is held together by so many fine threads that make one strong braided rope. And we have events like 9/11, like an environmental spill like BP disaster, and we have a bond rating fail of the United States. We keep breaking all these threads. You see, when the electric grid goes down, and they say how much more energy it takes to revitalize the electric grid. The restart is slow. Building those threads, reconnecting. Once you fragment a complex society like this, we need to keep a recovery in recovery. And I think being conservative right now means, if the game was stacked against Main Street, it would every more cause to be liberal and give people a chance to refinance it out of foreclosure, have a low interest program where people can get their access to windows and furnaces and these things that are very expensive to save for. It creates demand from manufacturing to labor on the street.
And at some point, and we talk about it a lot on this show for various reasons, is that student loans and education in general, college education, the price has to be into the mix at some point somehow, because that is just that's going to get bad over the next few years.
I want people to be able to retire their student loans into their refinance plan. I want this refinance plan to be a reset button for so many folks, where get rid of that car loan, get rid of the student loans.
Yeah, nobody's going to be buying houses if they're paying a mortgage-sized student loan.
Sure. Get the new green technology installed into the house so that people can live affordably, so that the dollars that they earn today are effective.
Okay.
How do we get the green technology? I love that stuff. I'm an environmental guy from way back, but I have different feelings that some of the green technology, it's not properly vetted. So you have all these people investing, or grants are given and notes are given to companies that end up being worthless because they're not vetted properly, or the people don't have much business training. They're more kind of on the other side of that whole movement. How do we make sure these things are vetted before we drop a dime?
It's a tough process, because whenever a government tries to set industrial policy, which is basically what you're talking about, I know the Japanese tried to do that after World War II, when we gave them all those rebuilding loans and finances to get back on their economy back on their feet. They subsidized entire industries, and apparently what we found out is that the companies that they subsidized or didn't subsidize, it made no difference.
I think it was Ira Magaziner that wrote a book about, or just touched on this subject in one of his books. It was that the solar industry began in the United States in the mid-'70s. The technology was sold to Japan in the late '70s. They couldn't implement it. They couldn't bring it to market. It was too early in the game. And so now the technology is generally, it's splintered around the world. But I don't think investing in these private corporations is the complete answer. I think private industry, I think the demand is there. I want this technology to be, it's user, the demand will come from the user, the households, and I think that's how the industry can be respirited.
I vaguely remember people having solar panels in the 80s. It kind of had started to make its way out there, and a lot of apartment buildings were doing solar and things of that nature, and then it did in the 80s kind of faded into obscurity.
Well, what happens is that every time an alternative energy source starts to make inroads, the standard or traditional energy companies,
they go ballistic.
And what they do after they've had a couple of gin and tonics to calm down is they drastically lower the price of their product.
Sure.
And and you really can't blame the American consumer for not buying a solar panel at when the cost of the coal or the originated, or the cost of the oil originated, or the cost of the I think those are the two main ones, right? When the cost of the what's the word I'm looking for? The
energy source.
Yeah, the raw material energy sources. The stuff the non-renewable. That's the word I was looking for. When the price of the non-renewable energy sources is dirt cheap,
and it goes on the back burner.
Then the new technology goes on the back burner, and it's and that's the end of that cycle.
Which is what I'm concerned about in a kind of a different way in this election cycle. As much as everybody is burnt out on politics and they kind of want to take a break from it, are these things going to go to the back burner over the next 2 to 4 years, and then it's kind of going to be a reset where people aren't really thinking about independent candidates, or they're not thinking about forming a coalition or whatever it may be to
if the economy recovers, right, Todd?
I'm thinking about the day we met in East Greenwich, Tony, when we did signatures back in the summer. Gentleman that you introduced me to at that coffee shop, he was doing renewables through the plastic bottles.
Yeah.
Whereas a piece of technology that this is brand new technology, but for a unit cost of $600,000, this unit can produce 10,000 gallons of diesel fuel a month. Now, I know many of these public buildings that take $20,000-$30,000 worth of oil in winter season, and I think any town can afford, this project. And get that into the public buildings, have it available for sale at the local community. I think that there's new technology just waiting to happen, and the United States has been just decimated. Where once I would have jumped at the chance to buy a $30,000 multifamily house, and geez, if the economy was good, people could afford to buy these things, but they're sitting there stalled because people can't even afford a house at $30,000.
As a matter of fact, who's buying up a lot of these three-family houses is investment companies and corporations.
It's the biggest property grab for the corporate vulture, So I think that that piece of equipment, Tony, would be an amazing purchase for any municipality. And it would supplement so much of the tax base going towards fuel.
Sure, you could easily incorporate that in with your Department of Public Works or the garbage trucks or whatever it may be, or even if you had a smaller apartment complex or something like that. I mean, the technology is
right.
Is amazing.
So people can't afford to invest in. They're not investment savvy, and the money just isn't there.
Right.
Folks that could have invested just 5 years ago,
it can be
decimated. So the investment class is really at a standstill.
Yeah, I mean, I hope I'm wrong on this, but it seems like the only way to get the big objection to alternate fuel sources a lot of times is infrastructure. In other words, we're not going to have hydrogen fuel cars because we don't have hydrogen stations every so many miles. We don't have solar energy because we don't have solar panels or, every so many feet. It seems to me that, like, looking at the way other countries have done it and looking at the way this country's done it in the past, whenever there's been a concerted push, it's always been at the government level. Whether it's to build the atomic bomb, that was a national program. Whether it was to build, whether it was to eliminate polio as a disease, that was on the national level. I know that lately, speaking of alternative energy sources, in the country of Brazil, they've gone a long way toward using sugarcane as to make ethanol for fuel. That was a government mandate. There was no vote. There was no democracy. The government there just said, this is what we're doing.
That technology, by the way, of turning plastic bottles into diesel fuel, is called thermal depolymerization. Mm-hmm. And it's a hot new technology. And, if anyone out there is listening and, that's what you can bring to your local community is concepts like that.
Yeah, I just hope that something like that can be done on a big scale without government mandate or intervention.
Well, every of these small towns, they're considering windmills and things like that, and all of these projects are $2 to $5 million to kick off. So investing in a piece of technology, at the $1 million mark that provides, dozens of thousands of gallons a month in diesel fuel to supplement public need in public buildings and school buses. I mean, that's where it's at.
Yeah, it's worth it, but we have to convince people of that.
Right.
So the question is, unfortunately, and I hate to be this guy, the miserable guy, and that is...
I'm trying not to be, so you can pick up the slack by all means.
And there are good stories, kind of George like what you have been involved in with the community library, there are good stories where it gets so bad where people do come together, but how bad does it have to get? There's been towns in Detroit where they've gone so broke that you'll get a 30, 60-day notice in the mail, and they'll say on this date that this town is broke on such and such a date. There's going to be no more garbage pickup. There's going to be no more police, and you have 60 days notice. It's up to you, but you're on your own. And I can unfortunately see that happening in this very state.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is to that. I think maybe one of the answers is I know that sociologists and people who study human behavior and everything will tell us that individuals. I think the current thinking is that individuals don't make much of a difference. It's always like masses of people, groups of people. I don't know. I'm starting to reconsider that. I think I might disagree. I think maybe that the right individual at the right time makes an incredible bit of difference. That might be the difference between what we did at the, with the library in Central Falls that I was involved in, and that town in Detroit that basically, if there's not one person there or two people, because that's what happened at the library in Central Falls. The city tried to shut it down, and it was the former director of the library, a fellow named Tom Monahan, who just said, no, this isn't right. And if it wasn't for this one individual,
he brought that coalition
together, exactly, and then it grew from there. That town in Detroit, may not have had such an individual. I mean, it might come down to individuals.
It's very interesting stuff, and well, I hate to say sound like an old geezer, but it's kind of scary.
Less than 150 miles from here, we've got people living in they say Armageddon conditions: no electricity, no social services, city services. We've got old ladies climbing multiple-story buildings with enough water to flush their toilet.
It is.
That's happening right now, folks.
I'll tell you, it's scary, but if we want to end the show on a positive note, it also opens all kinds of opportunity. To someone who wants to take the initiative.
For coalitions, for
exactly
independent-minded people.
Exactly. We can get folks out there to consider putting veterans to work. In I call it modules, work modules. I think that these leaders returning from overseas can work with the local civilian population. It's on-the-job training. I think if with a little bit of government input, these work modules can be used for private enterprise. It's a nursing home. They can get a low-interest refinance, to bring themselves up to code, for example.
Right.
That's a loan directly to the nursing home. It's not a public handout. So, they can work with a project module and get these jobs done, whereas they may not otherwise be able to afford it.
Yeah. The important thing is everybody in the listening range, while political season is quote unquote over, don't let these ideas, let these thoughts, these ideas you're having about involvement, don't let them go on the back burner. A true activist is 365 days. You can't just think about it during political season.
And we can't wait to, for the next, great popular guy to get elected.
No.
We have to work with people that have just been elected.
Right. And we can't keep putting our hopes in a popular elected guy. We tried that; it never works.
Right. We got a challenge. We got to challenge the status quo today.
All right, we got to get out of here. Any more political aspirations from you, Todd, or have your?
My ears are open. If Jack Reed gets Secretary of Defense position and there's a election coming up that triggers an election here in the state, you'll see my name on the ballot.
It seems that, like we talked about with Rhode Island being more conducive to something like that, also a special election, I feel, would be very conducive for something like that, because there isn't going to be, for the major candidates, there isn't going to be this long drawn-out process where they're raising millions and millions of dollars. So it would be more, it seems to me, of a level playing field if there were some kind of special election for. There's talk about Jack Reed, Rhode Island. There's talk about Sheldon Whitehouse too. So
I think it would be a great opportunity to make something happen. It's not going to happen with somebody who sits behind a desk. I'll tell you that.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Todd. George, thank you.
Thank you.
We are out of here. TonyJones.org, Facebook.com/Tony Jones Show, and don't forget to check out AnarchoRadio.com. I'm going to leave you a little bit with the lovely and talented Christy Martell. Here she is. Bye, everybody. Bye.
Good show.
Do you have a special gift that you'd like to share with the world? Then consider broadcasting your message on BTRN. The Bean Talk Radio Network is local, national, and international broadcasting with powerful programs that enlighten minds and change lives. BTRN hosts are passionate about purpose, motivating listeners to confidently move forward in the direction of their dreams. To host a show on BTRN, call 401-640-GIFT. Become a part of the Bean Talk Radio Network today and contribute to positive change tomorrow. We are BTRN, the Bean Talk Radio Network.
The best way to predict the future is to create it. The Intuitive Life Coach takes a metaphysical approach to life coaching, identifying root issues, accessing key problems, and formulating a highly effective approach and resolution. Through proven coaching techniques, the Intuitive Life Coach will help you to move confidently in the direction of your dreams. Author, counselor, teacher Ron Ash is the Intuitive Life Coach. Call 424-777-LAWS or connect online at theintuitivelifecoach.me.
Experience the power of being. Join author and intuitive life counselor Ron Ash on an infinite journey of enlightenment. Being explores the various modalities associated with self-help and spirituality. Master divine guidance. Connect to source energy and expand your consciousness. For a complete list of our affiliate stations and showtimes, visit beingwithronash.com.